and welcome to another exciting edition of A Splash of Paint, brought to you in association with the SAA, Society for All Artists. Today's programme is a colourful pick and mix, 60 minutes of inspirational information and demonstrations from some of today's most popular leading artists. Let's take a look at what's coming up on today's packed palette. Professional SAA artist Ince will be here to demonstrate how to use oils to capture the dramatic atmosphere of Dartmoor in today's Try Your Hand At project. We go side by side with versatile artist Pip McGarry as he pops into the Splash of Paint studio to show how water and oil can be mixed together to become best of friends. International pastel artist Vic Bearcroft reveals how to use trace down paper to transfer your ideas to achieve picture perfect results. And I was sharing another simple exercise to help develop your watercolour skills. An enthusiastic SAA professional artist D. Cowell demonstrates the difference between art bars and ink tense blocks and how gum arabic is the perfect solution for correcting mistakes. So let's kick things off and welcome professional SAA artist Ince as he demonstrates how to use oils to capture the dramatic atmosphere of Dartmoor in part one of today's Try Your Hand At project.
Thank you, Matthew. Today I'm going to do a little oil sketch of Dartmoor, and I've got a pre-prepared canvas board that I've done an absolute minimum of drawing. Is just really a few lines to indicate the hills and the foreground line where I want it. It's mainly a sky study, so the land is very low in the on the canvas, just the bottom third. To seal the pencil lines in and to kill the white of the canvas, I've used a raw sienna acrylic wash, just brushed on lightly, and that seals the pencil lines on so any pale colours don't get the graphite sullying them. The medium I'm using is the Artisan Water-mixable Oils, which are a wonderful medium. You can use them in public because you don't need to use white spirit, and there's no noxious sort of fumey smells associated with traditional oils. I'm using a fairly limited palette of colours. I've got 8 colours: zinc white, cobalt blue, alizarin crimson, raw umber, Payne's grey, raw sienna, yellow ochre, and a little lemon yellow. As I say, it's the water mixable oil, so the cleaning up process is just done with a little bit of soap and water. It's fantastic. So to start with, I'm going to mix a bluey sky colour. It's a moody atmospheric sky, so I don't want a bright, a very bright blue sky. I want to make it slightly grey. So I'm going to use just a little bit of raw umber in the mix, just a tiny bit in with the blue, and that will make it go a slightly grey blue colour. When you're mixing on a palette and it gets spread out when you're colour mixing like this, and you need a fair bit of colour, the easiest thing to do is just use a painting knife and scrape it up and make a little pile of it like that. And that then allows you to pick up a nice bit of paint on the brush. So starting in the top left hand corner here, I'm using sort of little X type strokes and just getting some colour on the canvas in this area. Pick up some more paint and bring this on down towards the centre. The thing to remember is when you put the sky on, not to go round the block and leave it, because if the bit you miss ends up bigger than the rebate for the frame you're going to put on, you end up with a little sort of stripe across just below the frame. So just make sure that you get some paint up under there. You know then that that's going to be covered when you take it off the easel. Right, so going into the side of that mix now, because I still want to pick up some of the blue, I'm using a number 12 filbert brush, which is a cross between a flat and a round, and is a very useful brush. What I'm trying to do here is create a slightly mushroomy colour. So with the blue and the white, touch more raw umber, which will make it go slightly mushroomy in colour. And then a little bit of alizarin crimson. Alizarin crimson is a very strong staining colour, so you want to be a little bit careful with it, because otherwise you can end up with a pink which then takes a lot of getting back to being a nice sort of non-pinky colour. So again, I'll just use a knife to pick that up. So with this mushroomy colour now, I can go straight in to bringing these clouds in over the, or to the edge of the blue there. So just carry on going across with the tinted canvas also, that if you don't cover, get the paint completely into the grain of the canvas, that doesn't really matter. In fact, if it does it throughout the painting, it has a unifying effect and ties it all together. So it's not a bad thing to have the canvas shown through. It then makes it more important actually to choose the colour that you put the initial wash of acrylic on. So for instance, a snow scene might be good to use a red or a pink wash, because it shows a little bit of warmth coming through the painting. So just sort of get that in. I need a bit more, so scrape it up. If I haven't got enough, no, I have to mix a little bit more. So just go with some more white, touch of raw umber again, and have a little bit of cobalt blue. Making a slightly darker mix this time, alizarin crimson. If it's not quite grey enough, just go with a little bit more raw umber. Again, scrape it up, and in we go. So this time, yeah, it's just very subtle, but it's very slightly darker. And I can go back up into that colour, mixing them on the canvas, similar to what you do with watercolour, except watercolour you've got a very limited time to do it. With oil paint you've got all day. So got to get down to this bit of cloud, so I want a bit more, go back into that blue colour. I'm just going to make it very slightly more lavendery by adding a little bit of alizarin crimson, and just down here where it meets the land, just put my glasses on so I can see my line. So coming across the land, because generally the sky gets very slightly warmer as it comes down to the horizon. I'm going to add a little bit more white to it there, make a slightly paler version, and put this in over on, where are we, this side, so just a paler version. Blend those together, right, yeah, just blend those together on the edge there. And the darker colour, so raw umber, a lot more of it this time, blue, cobalt blue this is, a little bit of crimson to warm it up a bit. Put it together, and it's a nice warm sort of mushroom colour this time, and this I'm going to put across here down into the sky there, and then again using the brush, you can stroke either way. And actually, if you leave this an hour or two, you can go back and blend that, and the paint stiffens slightly. It's not really dry, and it's not drying. It just loses the stickiness. The oil sort of loses a bit of stickiness. So it's easier at that point to put clouds and things like that on. You can just lay them in quite easily. But when you're sketching in oils, painting on plein air, it's a great medium. You can just sort of, look at this, it's lovely. Just put it on, move it about, pick up more. If you want it whiter, pick up some more, touch it on, blend it off, great fun, very forgiving. If you don't like it, scrape it off with a knife, wipe it off with a rag. You've got lots of chances of moving the paint around, taking it off, getting things as you like it. So just bring the sky up over this paler there. So just follow the land, and again we'll soften these lines a bit. Pick up a little bit more white and just put the brush on, pull it down, and you'll get a sort of nice soft line pulling into there. Paint. And as I say, a little bit sort of, you know, give it an hour or two and do this, and you've then got real control over it. You can be as accurate as you feel you need to be. But as I say, for sketching, we can just sort of get a quick interpretation of what you're seeing. I think we've just picked up a little bit of dry paint there from somewhere. So a little bit of white, blending wet and wet on the canvas, just to lighten this corner a bit and bring it down into the darker cloud that I've already put on there. And I think at that point we can stop, and I'll put the land on when we come back a little bit later.
Great tips there, more versatile, vibrant and atmospheric. We look forward to seeing part 2 later on in today's programme. Well folks, time for a short break now, but join us in part 2 when we go side by side with versatile artist Pip McGarry, as he shows us how water and oil can be mixed together and become the best of friends. And international pastel artist Vic Bearcroft reveals his simple tips for achieving picture-perfect results. We'll see you after the break.